Hey friends, welcome back to another video. In this one, I just wanted to explore one concept that's really helped me fall back in love with filmmaking again. Now, if you're anything like me, you started filmmaking because you absolutely love the craft, you love telling stories, you love gear, you love the whole process when it comes to production on sets. But when you start to do it as a commercial exchange, things change pretty quickly. It no longer is a hobby, and now all of a sudden you're getting paid to deliver a certain deliverable time and time again. And if you're not careful, over a few years, it tends to remove that love and the passion that you used to have for filmmaking. And so myself, like many other filmmakers, we go through this career and we have to try to find ways to fall back in love with the game of filmmaking. And for me, this is just my personal experience, the quickest thing to suck the joy in life and the love out of filmmaking is when I am snowed under by work and constant deadlines. There are so many reasons for this, but if you are snowed under by deadlines, you're obviously scrambling from job to job. You don't feel like you can give the right amount of time and energy per project that you really want to. And so you're putting out work that's not fulfilling because it's not creatively the best story or the best film that you possibly could create. You're scrambling and you're just jumping from job to job just to try and get the deadlines out of the door. And not only that, when you're trying to be creative for a new project, you're constantly stressed by the weight of all of the other deadlines that are looming in the background. There's been times in my career where I've had 10 to 15 projects due that I haven't even started editing, and they're just sitting there on a hard drive. And the stress of that definitely sucks the creativity out of the jobs that you should be committing your time and energy to. And so one thing that I have found to alleviate this problem is simply to batch your projects together and try and start and finish them as quick as possible before moving on to the next project. Last year for me was a shocker when it came to jumbling projects together and not really giving each project the care and attention that it needed. There were days where I was editing for an hour, then meeting with a client for a new project for an hour, then moving on to another meeting, which was a creative meeting for a project that was to be shot next week. Then I would head out on set in the afternoon to film a current project, and then in the evenings come back and try and edit and catch up, and then later on in the evening send quotes for new projects and proposals. So it was just a real mess, and it was really frustrating, and I found myself towards the end of last year really getting frustrated with filmmaking and almost blaming filmmaking for the way I was feeling. But ultimately what it comes down to is my time management and how I prioritize my time. And so what I've learned, and what I'm definitely going to try and explore more in 2023, is to batch projects together to give every single project the care and attention it needs. What does this look like? Well, we are moving into more of a package-based system where a client will come in and obviously want a video production service, and it will fall inside one of a few packages. Once we have identified a package that works for the client, there are certain parameters around that package, such as how much time should we spend on creative, how much time should we spend on pre-production, how much time shooting and editing and delivering, and all of those are predefined. So when someone books a package, we can actually look ahead in our schedule and book the entire production from start to finish. Now, I do have to say that this is in the commercial world. Obviously, if you're creating a long form narrative story or even a short film, something with a little bit more creative finesse or a little bit more salt and pepper, this won't apply, and it will be a longer process. But when it comes to a lot of commercial productions for businesses, they really just want a story told nice and concisely, beautiful images, beautiful sound, beautiful audio, but the turnaround can be relatively quick. We can turn up on set, film some interviews, film some testimonials or sound bites or piece to cameras, film some B-roll, and edit it together relatively quickly and get it out. There's no reason why we can't turn around these projects quickly. So as we schedule these jobs now in 2023, we're trying to block out solid amounts of time to deliver each project so that we can start the project, we can have the creative meeting on Monday, we can do pre-production on Tuesday, we can shoot it on Wednesday, we can edit it on Thursday, and we can deliver it on Friday. The fulfillment that you get when you start and deliver a project within 1 week is incredible. It not only is creatively fulfilling, it's really impressive to the client because of how quickly you turned around the story. I would also argue it's actually a better product at the end of the day because you've given this project your undivided attention from start to finish. You're no longer being distracted from the flow when you start a project in the edit and then you have to go away and start looking at another project altogether or problem solve this project. Whatever it is, you can start the project from start to finish, so you're creatively fulfilled. You are being way more efficient and effective when it comes to that project. And on top of all that, it actually helps affect the bottom line when it comes to your cash flow, which is super important as a business. Another thing to quickly suck the joy out of filmmaking is putting all this effort into this craft and then looking at your bank account at the end of the month and not seeing the effort translate into dollars at the end of the day. So the great thing when you start and finish a project in a really short amount of time, you're invoicing for the deposit at the start of the week and you're invoicing for the full final amount at the end of the week. And so it means you're getting paid quicker, and it means that you're not having to fund a lot of the projects and hold a lot of debt for a long period of time. Now in New Zealand, I'm not sure what it's like around the rest of the world for you guys, particularly in the US, but in New Zealand, a lot of bigger companies like to pay on the 20th of the following month of the invoice. So when you finish a project, let's say on the 15th of March and send that final invoice, it's not going to be until April the 20th until you receive the funds. So let's imagine you get booked for a really small commercial project, let's say $3,000. You're going to invoice $1,500 at the start of the project, and because you're snowed under with work, you might only edit that video 6 weeks later. And because you, like me last year, was just snowed under with constant deadlines and work, you might not be able to get to that project for 6 weeks. So 6 weeks later, you start to edit it and then you deliver it. And because it's been so long, the client has a whole bunch of changes and questions and it ends up taking a lot longer. So now 2 months later, you finish that project and then you finally invoice the final amount only to get paid another month later. And so now you've gone 3 months from the moment you sent the deposit invoice to the moment you're actually getting paid the full amount for that small commercial job of $3,000. It's taken 3 months to get the funds into your bank account. Now for you, whether you batch all of this work into 1 week or whether you spread it out across 3 months, you're still getting the same amount of money into your bank account, but it's ultimately better if you can start and finish in a shorter amount of time. So for 2023, I'd encourage you to see how you can optimize your workflow and your systems within your video production business to try and deliver projects faster. Is it possible to batch your pipeline together over the course of, say, a week or 2 weeks, where you can hit the creative of a project at the start of the week and deliver the project by the end of the week, if not by the end of the following week? By increasing your efficiency, by tightening up the delivery timelines, and by focusing your creativity dedicated to one job at a time, the projects are better, and ultimately I think it brings more joy and more fulfillment to you as a filmmaker. You've got to remember what it was like when you approached filmmaking as a hobby. When it was a hobby, you dedicated all your time and energy to one project at a time because they're passion projects, and so you're just consistently giving to one project. So hopefully if you can translate this into your workflow in 2023, we'll have more effective, more creative, and more financially better off filmmakers around the world. Hope you enjoyed this rant. If you didn't, I'm sorry for wasting your time, but if you did, please subscribe and like this video, and be sure to comment in the comment box below if you'd like to start a discussion about this. This channel exists for real commercial filmmakers actually making a living out of the craft of filmmaking. And so I hope this discussion today has helped you in some way or sparked a few ideas for your work. For now, we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.